Here at Orchard Barn this morning, work continues on the timber frame for the 1580 longhouse that we're reinstating, and Mike was here early and he's working on the curved brace. I'm just going to get a little closer, and this is a brace that's been hand converted by trainees from a tree, an oak, green oak. And the function of this brace is to, like its name suggests, brace between the jowl post here and the tie here. And the tie is interesting because it's also slightly curved, and we've chosen it so it gives a little bit of extra height in the upstairs of the building. So if you can imagine this at first floor level, its purpose is to keep the front and the back of the building from A, falling outwards, and B, falling inwards. So let me just show you the jowl post. The jowl is an upside down tree, so we've used, in a very traditional way, the buttress, the base of the tree. All of that strength and gnarled timber goes into this joint here, which does a lot of work. It supports the tie, it also connects with the wall plate, and from the wall plate the roof. So instead of removing all of this base of the tree, it's used upside down to best effect. And it is a very lovely day here, albeit a bit nipsy, and being on the edge of Watersham, the helicopters are flying today. So behind Mike you can see the remains of the chimney. Would have been a big Inglemuck chimney, and interesting that it's held together with earth mortar at the top, Tudor bricks possibly made from clay dug from the big pond that is just immediately behind it. And if I just pan round a little bit, you can see the main barn. This was the first part of the project here, and is now our meeting room, work area, and then another work area here, the craft barn that we've reinstated. So I'm just going to show you this craft barn. So it's the second shingle roof that we were able to make with volunteers and trainees from cleft timber. This one is sweet chestnut. So there's about 7,000 shingles there, and they've all been handmade. And hopefully I can just show you the elm rafters that have gone into making this little roof frame. So these are elms grown here on site, and they get to about 15, 20 years old, and the Dutch elm beetle unfortunately begins to kill the tree, but it happens to be about the right size for rafters. So that's what we've used them for. And you can see the roundwood ties here, and I particularly wanted to show you this Y post here, natural crook of an elm, which has got another roundwood elm wall plate resting in that natural crook. And I'm just going to pause because the helicopters are a little bit busy today. So the helicopters have passed over now. So this is an artist's impression of what we hope the longhouse will be like, except that our plans have evolved a little bit. And in this this impression you can see the timber frame. It's a 4-bay timber frame. We have made the decision now that the timbers will be visible on the inside, and on the outside we're looking at putting an extra layer of insulation so that this really does have good thermal performance. And you can see we're planning to use shingles for the roof again. And let me just show you, to put this into context, this was a house built in the 1580s, but by the 1960s neglect had taken over. You can still see the chimney, you can see the wattle and You can see the wattle in the daub, and you can see the wall plate, the mid-rail, but in a bit of a sorry state. We've been able to repair some of the timbers and plan to reuse them. When we first started on this project, this was the only part of the frame that was still standing. So you've got the mid-rail, the studs, and the remains of the wall plate and the foundations. We've repaired the foundations and reinforced them. And let me just show you, this is the chimney, and this is the gable end of the frame, and these are the people who've worked on it. So south gable, and this is as true to what the original would have been. So lots of learning happening here. And let me just show you Brian. Brian came on a timber frame repair course, and here he is repairing one of the jowl posts that will be reinstated. Now, all of our oak is coming from local woods, and this big tree here has now been converted using the mobile mill and it's become one of those big jowl posts. And this is the mill. These are the guys in action, taking a board off the side of the tree to square it up so that they can make it the size that we need for the timbers. And here's David using a traditional auger to begin to make a mortise, and that mortise then has the stud, the tenon of the stud fitted into it. And let me just show you, this is the peg, or a peg like this one, oops, that will then fit or hold the tenon into the mortise. So lots of traditional building techniques and skills being used here in the reinstatement of this 1580 longhouse. And let me just show you the drawings that were submitted for planning application. They've been modified a little bit, and we hope that we'll be able to send you a CAD drawing or something very similar to that, so you'll be able to see the 3D version of what's going on here. So I'm going to pause there again because the helicopters are back, and I really want to go inside and show you what we've done in phase 1 of this project here. Okay, so the helicopters have passed over again, but I'm still outside because I realised I really wanted to show you this little shingle roof that we have constructed, and its main purpose is to keep this earth wall from getting wet. So this is an earth wall that we reinstated. It's about 10 years old now. It's on the brickwork of the old farmyard and in between the brick piers, and it's not that clear here, but there is flint. Brick was an expensive item to buy, so they used the flint that would have come out of the pond when they were excavating the clay. So lots of building materials coming directly from beneath our feet here and being used in a variety of building projects. So this is the little shingle roof. This one is oak. The main barn here, this is oak. There's 20,000 handmade shingles up there, and this is the work of 70 people, and yes, it did take us 9 months, but that did include the roof frame as well. So I'm going to just pause and go inside and show you the inside of our roof. So I'm inside the barn now, looking out, and this is bay 1 of the barn. This was missing when I first saw this building, and it was difficult to see what was holding what up, but we ran some training courses 11 years ago and were able to repair and reinstate like for like the barn. So barn is made up of 4 bays. They're about 10 to 11 feet wide, and the jowl post is either side of the bay. So the jowl post does a lot of work, as I explained earlier. We've got some curtains to keep the draft out, and I'm just going to move down. You can see some of the things that students have been making here. But I really just wanted to show you this wall, which is got a very nice lime plaster on the top, again the work of students, but underneath that wattle and daub. So wattle is a material, hazel, it's coppiced on a regular basis, so it really is building material that regrows, deeply green, sustainable building material. And this is a drawing of the site. So just to put everything into context, the main barn, the threshing barn here in front of me, and then the timber frame, what has been described here as a cottage, the old cattle yard where I showed you the earth wall, and the cart lodge, which is now our craft barn. But I really just wanted to show you the infrastructure of this roof. This roof is a reinstatement of what would have been here originally when the barn was first built in the late 1700s. And you can see the purlin, the rafters, the battens, the hand cleft battens on which the shingles are fixed from the outside. So the rafters are oak. This purlin is locally grown larch. We needed something straight to support the rafters. And so it's a class purlin roof. No insulation in this, unlike the longhouse, which will need to be well insulated to keep us snug in there. The longhouse is going to be used for educational purposes downstairs, and upstairs we'll be having people associated with the project, guests, and also a manager's suite. So it's split purpose. So just panning round so that you can get the full range of what we've reinstated here. So this was another set of training courses making this roof from trees that I had the privilege of going and choosing from the local woods, and a lot of them were hand cut. I'm just going to move forward a bit to show you some of the saws that we really do use here, and it's a great way of keeping warm. It's a great way of making really good use of slightly curved timbers. So here we are, two handle saws that get donated, they get sharpened by volunteers, and they are very, very effective at making really good use of the local trees. So I'm going to stop there. If you've got any questions, just email me. If you want to get involved, then again email me, sarah.orchardbarn@gmail.com. Bye.